No Return, UFO Abduction or Covert Operation by David Booher. I hope I'm saying that right. This is a great book. This is one that really kind of bridges the gap between some of the mind control subject matter and some of the UFO stuff, and really kind of brings that all together. And in fact, in a discussion I had just through email with the author Martin Cannon of Controllers fame, he specifically mentioned this book, that he said maybe he would have stuck with his theory if he had read this or stumbled onto this case before he wrote his book. So I'll link to that later, the Controllers, if you're unaware of that. That's definitely worth checking out. No Return is the story of this guy that was in the U.S. Army and was on leave visiting his parents, and on his way back, and I think I'm getting that right, when on his way back from visiting his family, he was stationed in El Paso, and I believe he was in some kind of like missile defense program, not like nuclear missiles, but I think like might have been Nike missiles, I don't know, but it was not missile silos. But on his way back to El Paso, where he was stationed at Fort Bliss, he saw this weird, like what he thought was a plane crash, and went to investigate it, and wound up having this massive missing time episode, and never did find out exactly what the light was that he saw in the mountains. Now, I forget where exactly it was. I want to say where he saw the, in Utah is where he saw his sighting. And I believe he lived in Idaho, was where he originally hailed from. But hard to do this justice because there's a lot of really good information. My hat's off to David for his excellent research. This, I believe, came out like 2017, 18 or so, 2017. So this is a relatively recent book, and it's the Jerry Irwin story. And he goes and interviews this guy extensively, spoke to a lot of people, anybody he could find that was still alive, did a lot of great research on this, and even talks about where he uncovered some operations they had done down in Brazil, faking alien abductions on citizens in Brazil. So lots of good information in here. And the best part is how well researched this is, and how he really goes back to the original source material, to the original people, the witnesses, to dig into this. And uncovers a lot of other psychological warfare kind of stuff along the way. And it begs the question of, this guy, was his abduction that he experienced, was it staged by the United States to test its current capabilities of psychological warfare, or was it done by another state like the Soviet Union or somebody like that, another country, to try to co-opt him in his capacity in this missile program? So there's a lot there to look into as well. We always like to look at, sometimes it's tempting to look at some of these issues as the CIA or the NSA as like the ultimate boogeyman, but we have to remember that you have other competing intelligence agencies, a lot of them doing this kind of stuff. So it's not as simple as just the CIA and its gang. You got the Israeli Mossad, you got British intelligence. I talked to an active agent in the Air Force, the OSI, and he told me that the two main countries, the biggest countries that have the biggest spying operations in the continental United States are Israel and France. He said those are the two, and this particular gentleman, we had extensive talks about him wanting help in helping disguise some of his operatives for chasing down the others. He would spy on the spies. And he told me that the two main countries were Israel and France, as far as the biggest, the ones that were engaged in the most aggressive espionage against the United States. So, interesting information there. So it's important to remember in light of that there could be other countries involved in this, which would of course lend a better explanation to some of the secrecy too. So anyway, there you go. No Return, the Jerry Irwin story, UFO abduction or covert operation by David Booher. I highly recommend this. This is one readily available on Amazon. I don't think this is one that's going for a small fortune yet. But again, if you are into that angle of really digging into the UFO phenomenon as it relates to psychological warfare, this is a must read. But this is one of those two that if you are really married to the idea that aliens have to be, it's extraterrestrials doing this and it's all some kind of alien phenomenon, this will be a difficult pill to swallow. So anyway, No Return.